Shevelle McPherson is in Paris today, and I'm in Arizona. So this is across the waves that we're having this interview. Congratulations, Shevelle. You made #1 international bestseller.
Let me do my happy dance.
Yeah, it's so exciting. So,
Your team so
Shevelle.
much too.
Well, Shevelle has published a book called Legally Bossed Up: How to Protect Your Business, Brand, and Profit so you can make more money and keep it. Shevelle, I have to say congratulations. As I was reading your book and getting it prepared for publishing, I was, whoa, there's a lot of things I don't know and never even thought to know. And so I know that you're at a conference right now and you've been a speaker, and I'm sure you speak on this subject. So let's talk about this amazing book and the pillars that are kind of the structure of a successful business, and what we need to be aware of as entrepreneurs and small business owners, what we need to be aware of as we grow our business, and as we, many people are taking on this responsibility of being a business owner, and there's so much we don't know.
Oh,
I'm not hearing you there.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. I wrote this book because I have been inspired by the many entrepreneurs that are coming, always looking to sort of pick my brain. If you've started reading the book, you will see stories of text messages that I received, DMs that I received, emails, phone calls. Can I pick your brain? I have a quick question. And it's usually because my people, entrepreneurs, because I know my people, is that they're so focused on whether it's the funnels or the campaigns or the speaking gigs, ads, or all of these tactics, right, that they want to use, failing to put the most important thing in place, and that's a strategy. And the most your legal strategy, because if you don't have certain pillars in place, it's like it's on quicksand. At any given moment, it's going to go down. And
Right.
so this book outlines what I call the foundation. It's my method of helping entrepreneurs to put pillars in place, so more money, but they're keeping it.
That's beautiful. So the one thing that was so interesting, which a book like this can be pretty dry, but the way you wrote this book is using personal experiences of entrepreneurs who have said, "Hey, just very
Right.
upset because of something happening." So it makes it more relatable. It makes us be able to
Right.
really understand how this all weaves together. So, what about the pillars? Are the different, I think there's 5 pillars in your book about the
Yes.
different structures, different things. Like the pillar #1 is your property shield. So let's talk about
Right.
that a little bit and what people are going to learn when they read.
So I'm not going to give them everything, because element is
Yeah.
the main aspects of it, and the foundational pieces around. First thing I talk about is having your property shield in place, and that's because you want to make sure business from personal liability, right? I talk about all the different, and in the book I talk, because people always say, when we talk about structures, first and foremost, always, you would never be homeless because you live in a structure, right? And that structure is a house. And I asked this question: what if you were homeless, for example, when a pandemic through for the previous years we're still trying to get out of? What if you were homeless when COVID hit, to isolate, when you were supposed to quarantine? What if you had no place to go? That's shelter for yourself. But I always say your business, who is its own entity, it also needs shelter. Because what happens when the pandemics of business occur? The client that wants to file a chargeback, the event that is canceled on, the person who wants to sue you. I mean, we can go on and on with that occur in business. So I first talk about making sure that you are in structure so that you're prepared if something like that happens, and you
Right.
won't.
Well, it's so important because one of the things that we see happening is it's unfortunately you never know when somebody's just going to just be a bit disgruntled and decide to go completely the other way. And if you're not protected, you lose all the things that you've worked hard for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like, there are, because I know I've been in this arena. I know what I call like the legal landmines that most encounter. So if
Hmm.
you know something is possible, then you can prevent that threat by putting something in place to prevent it. Business insurance, because we know that there's a possibility, we hope not, but we know catch on fire. If that happens, we want to have something in place to help us. It's the same risk that we can anticipate. And for those risks, we need to put place so that if that event occurs, our business doesn't go down by profit and we don't lose our brand.
Absolutely. Your second pillar is the profit shield, and you're talking about effective legal agreements. And I think that most of us don't even realize how important and how serious those kind of things are. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so it's really people. Well, there's two sides to this coin. I know entrepreneurs, they don't need to have legal agreements. They're going to do the old handshake.
Yeah.
They don't want to present their prospective client with this long requirements or rules. They don't want to ruin business opportunity, right? Um, and then there are those who want them and they want to overload it with everything, and they're like lopsided anyway, right? But they want
Right.
to overload it and they want to hold the other party, and that's not what agreements are for. They should really be fair to both sides. I always tell people you should have legal agreements, number one, because you want to set the rules of engagement. And not only that, think about it. It's like marriage, because this is a relationship. Marriage is a relationship. The the bride and the groom are the happiest. It doesn't get more blissful than that, right? You and your client are the you sign this agreement the day that you agree to enter into this relationship, because you're excited, the other person is excited about how much they're going to receive. It's blissful. But then
As the
things
work
happen,
begins.
as the work begins, things start to sometimes, oh, I thought it was going to be done this way. Oh, I thought it was going to be this color. Oh, I didn't know they were going to be late. Oh, right. So then we have these disgruntled life, and now we have people that no longer are in agreement. So what happened?
Right.
Agreement in place that says, yeah, I know you thought this, but this writing, or I know you thought you were going to get this, but this is what we agreed to. Or I know you thought you didn't have to do this. It just easier, and it allows you to, number one, control the ring, and number two, consistently get paid, right? For the value, and number three, hold people accountable for what they said that they're going to do, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
The importance of it. And then at the end of the day, I know I have some like coaches and consultants, and they actually 12 months, and then life happens. It's okay. I always say it's okay. You choose, but you want to have the choice, right? To
You
be able
do.
to
Yes.
renegotiate. Just because it's what you agree at the onset doesn't mean it can't change later. But the key is to get the ball rolling. It's like GPS. At the onset, you want to set the desired location of the desired where you want to go, like a GPS. It's okay. It's called modification, right? You know,
Right. Right.
GPS calls it reroute, call it a modification. We just change things. As long as we agree, it's okay. But when you want to make the rules of engagement at the onset of the relationship, or it can get bad.
And you know, the interesting part is a lot of times people don't even read those until they get a little disgruntled. But
I
yeah.
Yeah, I talk about that. I actually have an example of someone. It's plate number 2, right? It's an individual who actually called a question about could he get paid for something. It was a relationship that kind of went bad, and he contract when he came back. I said no, that wasn't in there. So no, you're gonna have to bite the bullet. So it happens because people are so excited to get, they don't read the fine print. They don't realize that he said for better or for worse, for rich death do us part, right? They didn't hear all of that. All they saw was, oh, I'm so in love.
It's all
It may not.
wonderful. Yeah. Yeah.
It may not. Right?
And
That's the
life
important
changes
thing.
a lot of things too, you know, that there's so
Right.
many circumstances. And you know, even in publishing, you'll have authors that will get nervous about publishing their book, especially if it's more of a biography type of thing. And when they
Mm-hmm.
get down to it, they to actually say, yes, I'm going to publish it,
Yep.
you know, it comes back and they get scared. You know, they don't know if they really want their information out to the world's second
Absolutely.
thoughts, and a lot of emotion that goes into it. You even
Mm-hmm.
mentioned in chapter 2 about even you need agreements on your website, your you know,
Yeah.
for your websites.
Absolutely. I mean, there's like, I call them the big 3, what people should have on their websites, because so many people can go on your website sometimes if you don't have it set right, and they can swipe things. I call it rules. You know, you have to have house rules. When people come into my home, even when I lived in Bali for a couple of months, when people came in religious purposes, they removed their shoes. People, you know, a lot of Muslims, you know, you remove the shoes. It's a sign of respect, right? Right. So at the end of the day, house. So when people get ready to come into your business, and if it's your website, they're going to do. What can they not do? What do you need to let them know? You might want to disclaim some things, right? You might want to have some you know, copy disclaimers, or certain things you can't do. You want to prevent them from just doing whatever they want to do. So I also talk about that in the book. That's something that entrepreneurs don't really think is just between 1 or 2 people, but you can have agreements with groups of people. You need to have an online program agreement for the whole entire group. If you have terms up there for all of the website visitors, those are other forms of agreements.
Right. It's so fascinating. And in Pillar 3, you talked about trademarks, copyrights, how important those are. You know, so you know you cover your pillars are just really strong because you even mentioned IP, your bling
Yes,
stuff. You
yes,
know, and it's things you never think about. You know, that are so important.
right. Yeah, and it's really, I always, you know, I just spoke here, and when I talk, I always talk about what's inside your house that needs to be protected. My house, you know, everybody knows I love shoes. Some of them are crystal Swarovski. It's part of my jewelry. It's part of my bling. You know, my Chanel bracelet is part of my things that I love. So in your business, there's some bling, right? What your products, what your services, you know, there's certain bling inside your house from individuals that may copy it, right? People might want to just say, oh, you know, Shevelle created that blog. Instead of me creating it, I was trying to say, wipe her copy. That is your intellectual property. And I talk about the best way to protect for the people that are listening. One of the biggest what is it? Because someone asked me that even here. Oh, what about the poor man's copyright? I got the poor man's copyright. Listen, you can get the book, and I go deep on that. The poor man's copyright is not the way that bosses protect their intellectual property. You want property for the best protection and for penalties and for proof of all of those things. I call them my 3 P's in the book. You don't get the 3 P's from the poor man's copyright. Protect your intellectual property. You want to make sure you're registering it, and you don't want to be going a copyright. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Wow. Well, really, for anybody that really wants to know that they're protected, I would encourage you to pick up a copy of this book. It's excellently written. It is very concise, to the point, and there is a world to learn about, things that most of us would never think about. And so we could go on and on and on, but I think that it's, I think that we'd like to encourage you to pick up the book.
Yeah.
And this is something that you will have Chevelle's contact information. If you kind of read something and say, I don't really know what to do about that, how do I go about doing this? This is a good time to really have a good conversation with Shevelle. So we celebrate with you, Shevelle, today. And I'm looking over here. The Kindle version already became a #1 bestseller, and let me see where we are today. Right now with the print version, because you were really coming in close. You are a bestseller, but haven't hit #1 quite yet on that one. Let me look. So you are still hitting your. In the Kindle, you're still a #1 hot new release in business education, and you're 1, 1, and 4 on business law reference, human resource and personnel, and business education. And then the paperback has already hit hot new release on intellectual property, and #8, 9, and 23, which is pretty amazing to be able to out of all the books on these topics, you're doing extremely well. So very, very
Yay!
good. And yep, you have a lot to celebrate because this is a magnificent book. And thank you for being how you serve in the world today. It is so amazing, because most of us don't have a clue on all the things. We might have maybe our business structure is pretty well set, but maybe these other things are not. We don't even think about. So thank you for having the wisdom and the smarts that you have.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and I appreciate everyone that came in. People were texting me; they loved the book. They were writing reviews. All of the get it today. I think tomorrow it goes up, right?
Right.
I had yesterday's price is not today's price, so I just want you to know tomorrow's price is not today, right? The other thing is, this is probably going to be one of my best birthday tomorrow. So tomorrow I will be celebrating being a #1 best-selling author in Paris. It's just been a lot going on, so I'm super excited. I'm here speaking to a bunch of amazing of the world. There are people here at this event that are from like Canada and Mexico, and so it's been amazing. I hosted last night. I hosted a speaker meetup. I coordinated it with like my driver to make sure everybody got around, and we went to so I lost you for a minute. So we're having a blast here. This
and happy birthday.
Yeah, icing on the cake. And so I'm super excited. And then guess what? After I leave Paris, but I'm not going to tell them because they need to buy the book first, and then we can have another conversation. So thank you.
Awesome. Celebrate, go enjoy and celebrate. Woo! And really just enjoy. Thank you
so much. Right. Thank you for having me. And thanks for helping me. This is my awesome and amazing. Make sure you check out Spotlight Publishing if you need a publisher. She's the bomb.com.
All right. Thank you. All right. And enjoy the rest of your time there.
All right. Thanks. Bye.